Good morning, children. Yesterday we have discussed about the India, its location, and the latitudinal and longitudinal extent of our India. Today we are going to discuss about the unique features of our India. To know about the unique features of our India, let us start with the continental drift theory. Continental drift theory. I think you remember. This theory you have studied in your 9th standard. So, about continental drift theory you have studied in your 9th standard. This theory was proposed by Alfred Wegener. Alfred Wegener. So, what he proposed? He proposed the formation of oceans and the continents. How the oceans were formed, how the continents were formed. What today we are seeing. So, let us look into the over millions of years ago, our world was formed as one main land. Our world was formed as what? One main land. Millions of years ago. We call it as what? Pangea. We call it as what? Pangea. Remember, first the world was formed as one main land. We call it as what? Pangea. The water which is surrounded the main land, we are calling it as what? Panthalassa. We are calling it as what? Panthalassa. So, what happened over million years ago? Nearly over 220 million years ago. Again, this main land is split into the two mainlands. This one and so this mainland is split into the two major land forms. This we are calling it as what? Angara land. The another name for Angara land is Laurasia. Is what? Laurasia. Have to remember. So, Angara land is also called as what? Laurasia. The next, this land we are calling it as what? Gondwana land. Gondwana land. So, when the main land split into the two major landmass, that is Angara land and the Gondwana land, our India was split from the Gondwana land. So, our India was formed from which land? Gondwana land. Now, let us look into the formation of the India. Now, you can get the answer. Our India was formed from the major land, that is Gondwana land. So, when from this Gondwana land, India was formed. It moved to the northeast side. Another continent, that is Australia. Another continent is what? Australia. Moved to the south of the Gondwana land. So, India was formed from the Gondwana land. India moved to the north side. Australia moved from the Gondwana land to the south side. So, here there is a formation of plate. You can call it as what? India-Australian plate. Indian-Australian plate. Over 220 million years ago, the mainland was split into the Gondwana land and the Angara land. And India was formed from the Gondwana land, and Australia moved to the northeast side of the Gondwana land and Australia moved to the south of the Gondwana land. Again 200 million years ago, again 200 million years ago, our India moved to the south part of the Eurasian plain, south part of the Eurasian plain. So this formation of plates you have studied in your 9th class in plate tectonic theory. When Indian Australian plate moved, why this Indian Australian plate moved? Because due to the internal forces or due to the inner forces, the Indian Australian plate moved to the south of the Eurasian plate. So here when two plates, what happened when two plates collide with the forces? When two plates, for example, if this plate is Indian Australian plate, if this one is Eurasian plate, so the movement of plates is due to the internal forces on the earth. So due to these internal forces, when these two plates moves in the opposite direction, when they collide at a place with the immense force, forms a shapes, we can call it as what? Mountains. Forms a shape, nothing but folded shape. We call it as what? Mountains. Today we are calling it as what? Himalayas. We are calling it as what? Himalayas. Folded shape. Just due to the forces, it was folded and formed as what? Mountains. We call it as what? Himalayas. So now you got the answer how the Himalayas are formed. First thing, the total millions of years ago, the total mainland was formed as one major land. We are calling it as what? Pangaea. The water bodies which surrounded, we are calling it as Panthalassa. When 220 million years ago, due to the internal forces, this mainland was split into the two major lands, that is Angara land and next one is Gondwana land. Our Indian landmass was formed from the Gondwana land, moved to the northeast side. When again 200 million years ago, when Gondwana land moved to the Eurasian, from the Gondwana land, when our India moved to the south of the Eurasian plate due to the immense forces or due to the collision. But how the collision takes place, you can see here. If you think these two are plates, for example Indian Australian plate and the Eurasian plate, due to these forces the folded shapes were formed and raised as the mountains. We are calling it as what? Himalayas, which are located in the north part of our India. Get the answer. Our India was formed from the Gondwana land. Himalayas are located in the north part of our India. Now the next topic is what? Relief features. So as you know, the relief features are also called as what? Physical features of India. Relief features. Relief features are called as what? Physical features. So this you have to remember, important. Sometimes in SSC public examinations, they may ask write about the relief features of India, or sometimes they ask the write about the physical features of India. You should not confuse. Both the relief features and physical features are same. So our Indian relief features, are divided into the 6 divisions. The first one is Himalayas. The Himalayas. In 2 marks also they may ask, what are the relief features of our India? You have to write. First one is the Himalayas. Second one is the Indo-Gangetic Plain. the Indo-Gangetic Plain. Next one, third one is the Peninsular Plateau. The Peninsular Plateau. Fourth one is the coastal plains. The coastal plains. Fifth one is the deserts. The deserts. And sixth one, that is last one, the islands. So you have to remember this 6. You should not miss any one. Either in 2 marks question they may ask how many relief divisions are there for our India, or they may ask write about the 6 Indian relief features. The first one is the Himalayas, second one is the Indo-Gangetic Plain, third one is the Peninsular Plateau, fourth one is the coastal plains, fifth one is deserts, the sixth one is islands. Now let us look into the one by one. First, the Himalayas. First one, the Himalayas. So now we have to draw the Indian map. So when you look into the Indian map, so the Himalayas are located in the north part of our India. North part of India. Let us see. These Himalayas are mostly covered with ice. Mostly covered with ice. The Himalayas form in the if you look into the shape of the Himalayas, they are in the form of arc. So again, they move from west to east direction. They move from west to east direction. So which direction? You have to remember this point. West to east direction. So from west to east direction, these Himalayas are extend nearly 2,900 kilometers. So from west to east extend how many kilometers? 2,900 kilometers. As you know, when these Himalayas moves from west to east, the distance decreases. Nothing but the width decreases. That is, so 500 kilometers. 500 kilometers in the west side, in the western side, and 200 kilometers in both central and east side. Central and east side. So in simple, we have to explain. The Himalayas are located in the north part of our India. Most of the Himalayas are covered with the ice, and they are formed in the shape of arc. They move from west to east direction nearly 2,900 kilometers. When you see 500 kilometers in the western side and 200 kilometers in the central and the east side, there is a difference. 2,900 kilometers from west to east. This is total. But when you see the 500 kilometers in the western side, when it goes on to the east side, decreases. When it comes to the central and the east part, it is nearly 200 kilometers. To the most important one. So the Himalayas are formed in the north part. The Himalayas are formed in the north part of India. These Himalayas are formed in the three parallel ranges. How? The Himalayas are formed into the three parallel ranges. So let us look into this one. First one, the Greater Himalayas. The Greater Himalayas. We can call it as Himadri also. We can call it as Himadri. So Himalayas are split into the three parallel ranges. First one is the Greater Himalayas. Second one is the Lesser Himalayas. The Lesser Himalayas. These Lesser Himalayas are also called as what? Himachal. You can call it as what? Himachal. Next one is the Outer Himalayas. The Outer Himalayas. So these are the three parallel ranges. So the first one is what? The Greater Himalayas. The second one is Lesser Himalayas, and the third one is what? Outer Himalayas. If you see the Greater Himalayas, the Lesser Himalayas, and the Outer Himalayas. So discuss about the Greater Himalayas. First one, Greater Himalayas. These Greater Himalayas are also called as what? Himadri. The most of the Greater Himalayas are what? Snow covered or ice covered. So first point, it covered with ice or snow. Next thing, so when this ice or the snow melts due to the temperature, we can see the formation of the glaciers. Due to the glaciers in the Himalayas, we are going to have the perennial rivers. Which rivers? Perennial rivers. What do you mean by the perennial rivers? The continuous flow of water is called what? Perennial rivers. How these perennial rivers are found in the Greater Himalayas? Why? Because the Greater Himalayas are totally covered with, or the major portion of the Greater Himalayas are filled with the ice and the snow caps. So when these ice or snow melt due to the temperature, they formed into the rivers. We are calling it as what? Perennial rivers. They never dry up. We are calling it as what? Perennial rivers. So they extended nearly about the 6,100 meters. 6,100 meters. So they have extended nearly about the 6,100 meters above mean sea level. Above mean sea level. About the mean sea level. Next thing, these Greater Himalayas are having the major peaks of India. Major peaks of India. For example, Mount Everest. Mount Everest, which is located 848 meters. Second one, Kanchenjunga, which is located in Sikkim, of height 8,588 meters. Third one is K2, located in POK, Pak occupied Kashmir. This is of height 8,611 meters. This is of height 8,611 meters. So the most important peaks of India, Mount Everest, which is located in Nepal, of height 8,848 meters. Next one is Kanchenjunga in Sikkim, of height 8,598 meters. Third one is K2, POK means Pak occupied Kashmir, of height 8,611 meters. Second one is the Lesser Himalayas. The Lesser Himalayas. The Lesser Himalayas are also called as what? Himachal. Where these Lesser Himalayas are located? If this one is Greater Himalayas, these are called what? Lesser Himalayas. These are Lesser Himalayas. So the south part of the southern part of Greater Himalayas, the Lesser Himalayas are located. So let us look into the Lesser Himalayas. The Lesser Himalayas are also called what? Himachal. It extended. These Lesser Himalayas are extended nearly 3,700 meters to 4,500 meters. So it extends 3,700 meters to 4,500 meters. These Lesser Himalayas are filled with compressed rocks. Filled with compressed rocks. We can call it as what? Rugged relief. We can call it as what? Rugged relief. So the Greater Himalayas are filled with the snow and the ice, but the Lesser Himalayas are filled with the compressed rocks, that is rugged relief. So again, these Lesser Himalayas are mostly famous for hill stations. Mostly famous for hill station. For example, Shimla, Mussoorie, Nainital, Ranigarh, etc. So you have to remember the Greater Himalayas are filled with the highest peaks, but the Lesser Himalayas are famous for what? Hill stations, that is Shimla, Mussoorie, Nainital and Ranigarh. The Greater Himalayas are filled with the snow. Here the Lesser Himalayas are covered with the evergreen forest. Evergreen forest. So the Lesser Himalayas are filled with the evergreen forest. Now this is first one. First one Greater Himalayas. Second one is Lesser Himalayas, and third one is Outer Himalayas. Third one is Outer Himalayas. See, if you see, the height decreases, the Greater Himalayas, and it decreases to the Lesser Himalayas, and you come to this one, the Outer Himalayas. These Outer Himalayas are also called as what? Shivalis. The another name for outer Himalayas are called what? Shivaliks. So again, these outer Himalayas of elevation nearly 10 to 50 kilometers width, 10 to 50 kilometers width, and of height nearly 900 to 1100 meters. 900 to 1100 meters. So the width is 10 to 50 kilometers, but the elevation is how much? 900 to 1100 meters. So these outer Himalayas are consists of so many hills. So next thing is what? Duns. What do you mean by the duns? The valleys, the lower valleys lying between the lesser Himalayas and the lower Himalayas. What is the meaning of duns? The lower valleys lying between lesser Himalayas and outer Himalayas. So the outer Himalayas are having the valleys. The lower valleys lying between the both lesser Himalayas and the outer Himalayas, we are calling the duns. For example, famous duns, Dehradun, which is the capital of Uttarakhand, Patlidan, etc. Again, these outer Himalayas are called by the different names in different states. The outer Himalayas or Shivaliks are called by different names in different states. For example, Jammu Hills in Jammu Kashmir, Jammu Hills in Jammu and Kashmir, Nishmi Hills in Arunachal Pradesh, Kachar in Assam. So you have to remember, in 1 marks or in multiple choice they may ask in the outer Himalayas in Jammu and Kashmir called as what, or the outer Himalayas in Arunachal Pradesh are called as what, or else in Assam the outer Himalayas are called as what. So in Jammu and Kashmir these hills are called by their local place names, that is Jammu Hills, and in Arunachal Pradesh it is Nishmi Hills and Kachar in Assam state. Now we have studied about the three parallel ranges. First we have studied about the Himalayas. Again these Himalayas are divided into the three parallel ranges, that is Greater Himalayas, Lesser Himalayas and the Outer Himalayas. As you know, these Himalayas starts in the direction from west to east. From what? West to east. So when it enter into the eastern boundary of India, when the Himalayas, the lower Himalayas and the lesser Himalayas and the greater Himalayas, when they enter into the eastern boundary of our India, when they reach to the eastern boundary of India, here it takes the hairpin bend to the south, So when they move from west to east, this is the boundary of the Himalayas. These boundaries, when it reaches here to the eastern part, it takes the hairpin bend to the south. We call it as what? Dikhang Valley or Brahmaputra Valley. The eastern boundary of Himalayas. called as Dihang Valley or Brahmaputra Valley. So you have to remember, when the Himalayas starts moving from west to east direction, when they reaches to the eastern boundary of India, we call these Himalayas a Dihang Valley or Brahmaputra Valley. Now this Dihang Valley or Brahmaputra Valley, when it starts entering into the northeastern states, when this Brahmaputra Valley entering into the northeastern states, they are called by the Puravanchal. Called by the Puravanchal in northeastern states. Called as what? Puravanchal. Patkali. So, when Dihang Valley or Brahmaputra Valley spreads into the northeastern states, in these northeastern states we are calling it as what? Puravanchal or Patkali. Again, these Puravanchal hills or Patkali hills are locally called by different names. For example, in Nagaland, they are called as Naga Hills. In Meghalaya, they are called as Khasi Hills. And in Mizoram, they are called as what? Mizo Hills. So, these Puravanchal or Patkali hills again called by the different local names in the different states. For example, Nagaland they are called as what? Naga Hills. In Meghalaya they are called as Khasi Hills. In Mizoram they are called as what? Mizo Hills. So, we have completed the Himalayas. Again in the Himalayas we have completed the 3 parallel ranges, and we have learned some new things again. Like the eastern boundary is called as what? Dihang Valley or Brahmaputra Valley, and they are called by local names. For example, Nagaland or Meghalaya or Mizoram. So, how these Himalayas are going to benefit our India, or how these Himalayas are going to influence the climate of our India? Let us look into that one. Himalayas. How these Himalayas influence climate of India. So, we are going to learn about the importance of Himalayas, or how it influences the climate conditions of our India. So, these Himalayas act as the barriers in protecting our India from for example, China, Nepal or Tibet. So, these Himalayas act as what? Barriers, nothing but protecting from the different countries. Act as barriers from other countries. Next important point is, these Himalayas are protecting from the cold winter from the Central Asia. These Himalayas are protecting from the cold winter winds which is spreading from the Central Asia. So, we are unable to experience the severe winter. Protecting from cold winds from Central Asia. So, first one, it acts as barriers from the other countries. Next thing, protecting from the cold winds which are coming from the Central Asia. Third one, these Himalayas are the reason for summer rains. So what today you are experiencing the rains because of the Himalayas. Fourth one, monsoon type of climate. Monsoon type of climate. So these are the important things. First you have to remember barriers from the other countries, protecting from cold winds from the Central Asia. Third one is these Himalayas are the reason for the summer rains and it helps us to experience the monsoon type of climate. You can add some more points like it helps in the tourism also. Tourism of India. Next thing, ecological condition. And it benefits the vegetation by fertile soil. So already we have learned in Himalayas, we are having the Himalayas are covered with the snow and the ice. When this snow and the ice, due to the temperature, it melts and form the glaciers. When this glaciers moves, it forms the so many perennial rivers. These perennial rivers never dry up. When they moving from one place to the another place, they generally carry the slip. Slip is nothing but the soil which is very suitable for the vegetation. We can call it as what? Fertile soil.